Finally, let's move on to our last conversation this morning. And over the weekend, we had the WRC Safari Rally. And this event looked, compared to last year, I would say, it looks the closest to what we had 20 years ago when, Kenya was hosting it, and we had the rally moving just around Suswa in different directions where, you'd have to draw notes, go in one direction and then draw a fresh set of notes for the same stage, but because it's being run in reverse. Crazy things happening, drivers suffering all sorts of trouble, but it's the dust and the mud that they will always remember. And to help us, understand this rally and the new cars and the entire outlook for it, we're joined by Mr. Two-Wheel Drive, part of the team that is known as Mr. Two-Wheel Drive. There are two of them, Leo Varese and Kigondu Kareithi. My apologies. He's won 5 championships in the two-wheel drive. 5.
5 years.
5. And that would put him up there. That is just in one class. And Kigo, thank you for joining us this morning. First things first, your overall take from the weekend.
Hi Dan, always nice to be here at KBC. It's his home. Safari was a tough event. Excuse me, like you rightfully say, it had echoes of Safari gone by. Not a very long Safari in terms of if you compare it with the past, but in this championship is actually going to be the longest rally that they're going to do. The stages were 3 stages every day, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, repeated twice, plus the stage on Wednesday, which gives them a total of 19 stages. The drama began on Friday. The drama began on Wednesday. On Thursday, sorry.
On Thursday.
Kale Romanpere, first corner. I think it's about a 100 to a medium left, which is banked. His car got off onto the edge of that bank, and we all saw the pictures of his car just about to roll. But, Toyota, that's about all the problems they had. They drove their cars fast and carefully. They emerged victorious, 4 cars in the top 4. Echoes of 1993. It was won by Kankunen. We had Duncan in there. We had Yasuhiro, I think.
Yes.
And so Toyota has done
and Marco Allen.
Marco Allen in second place, yeah. So Toyota has done 4 times before. So I'm sure they are very happy. Yari, I saw an interview with Yari there at the service park, and he said what they had concentrated on this year was making their cars reliable. Not too much top end, but reliable. And I think, after doing that Safari, I don't think these guys have anything to fear for the rest of the championship, because those were tough stages, very tough stages.
Well, and Kego, when you talk about reliability, because you as a person who's always in the seat and looking at the difference from what was known as the World WRC car and now known as the Rally 1 and its hybrid, where is the key difference in these two cars?
The key difference is the addition of the hybrid motor, which is it's basically an electric motor with a battery, 3.9 kilowatt battery for all cars. Incidentally, the motors, the hybrid part of the Rally 1 cars are produced by one company, supplied to the teams who then insert them into their cars. Otherwise, the cars have the 1.6 liter turbocharged engine as the main engine. I think the rules dictate that the hybrid engine must be used for a certain percentage of the rally. And it was pretty interesting watching the cars at the service park as they reversed out of service, because most of them reversed out in the hybrid motor. And it was very surreal seeing a rally car moving without the usual,
burst of noise.
Exactly, but you could hear the motor whirring. It's a new dispensation. We are moving towards, sustainable motorsport. And so there was a bit of fear about how those engines would perform here in Kenya, especially the hybrid motor. I think the only person who had an issue was Loeb on day 2, where he had a small fire which caused him to retire for the day, but he was back on Saturday with Super Rally rules. But apart from that, I don't think there's any other team that really had an issue with the motor. The motors have performed well, and I think the dramas that came for the other teams was more to do with Fesh, was more to do with the second last and last stages, Sleeping Warrior of Saturday. They did them in the morning and they were completely dry. Back in the afternoon, exact same stages, it's like night and day.
The warrior woke up.
The warrior woke up. The warrior woke up, and the stages were dramatic. The mud. In fact, one of the drivers was interviewed, and he said the only thing we were lacking is snow here. You know, we had all the conditions: sun, dust, rain, mud. It's only snow that was lacking. You know, we have been through all the seasons here, and it was tough. Anybody who finished up on Saturday in a good position performed well on Sunday.
And just taking a look at, when I look at overall day one after the Kedong stage, Kale Rovanpera moving up. How is it that Kale worked his way up from 11th? There were misfortunes for the drivers. The Fords had not the best of rallies.
Yeah.
The Hyundais here and there. Solberg at times having to use, what would you say, driving at tourist pace.
Yeah.
Or rally mode. What for Toyota?
I mean, day one, we all saw the dramatic pictures of Ott Tanak trying to wrestle his gear shift. The gear shift broke almost at his foot, so he was forced to be changing gears, leaning down like this. Things like those should really not be happening in a rally car. Toyota, if I made some notes about the things that had happened to them, and the worst thing apart from a puncture was a window washer issue, which Elfyn Evans had on day 2. Now, if that is a problem, then it's no
But
wonder.
Hyundai had the same problem last year.
Hyundai had I think it was even a humidifier problem. Yes. But on top of other problems, So this year, Ott Tanak had the gear issue. What finally took him out of the rally was a power steering issue. He had a transmission issue, all in one car. It's in fact, even the Hyundai team boss said they have some work to do. All
right, Ford,
same thing, lob engine fire, stage 4 in Kedong, Breen puncture and steering, gas rolled and then had an engine problem, 4 more puncture, then engine failure. They all retired. And came back in Rally 2. In
Super
Rally. And so, only the Toyotas didn't retire and come back on Super Rally. So that is saying a lot for what Yari was saying about building the car for reliability. The Fords and the Hyundais have work to do. If they are planning on catching, especially Kale in the form that he's in right now, they have a lot of work to do.
Oh, for Hyundai, there's one, Thierry Neuville. He had a dramatic Saturday.
Neuville, very bad luck. Stage 2, loss of power. Same stage, alternator failure. By the time he was doing the wet stage, he even said his motivation was down. He hit a puddle. The window got covered in mud. Next thing, he was inside a tree. At that point, he just wanted to get out of the car. And so he left the car and was picked up later by a helicopter. I think the last 2 years, he's not enjoying Safari that much. But because of Super Rally, he came back and finished 5th. And not only did he finish 5th, collect 10 points, he won the power stage for an extra 15 points. So he actually got points as if he had finished in 3rd place. So not a very bad outing for them. Not a bad outing for him.
Actually, I'll be coming back to the Gus Greensmith issue, and this is about the marshals and how, because the WRC organizers and the FI have spoken about it. Neuville's drive in the power stage, at one point I thought he would end up some crazy place, but he set a very fast time. No one could catch up.
That was what was left for him, and I think congratulations to him that he set out to get those power points and he got them. Dramatic drive. I'm sure the fans who were there really enjoyed it. My money, unfortunately, was on Ott Tanak, but I was at the service park. When I saw him come back, I was a bit disappointed. But that's after you come back from your retirement and you come back on Super Rally rules. You're just trying to collect as many points as you can. They're very lucky that the championship doesn't have very many cars, and up to position 10 you score. So even if you retire and you're able to come back and be in at least 10th position, you score some points. So the damage control was not so bad. They managed to pick up some points.
Well, and talking about the number of cars in Rally 1, there were 12 cars, and for Ford, you'd find that the person, they would say, really pushed the car and would say outdid himself was Shaddaridis.
The privateer.
The privateer.
Yes. Sometimes, like we were mentioning at the service park, you can have your best laid plans. I remember Lancia cars coming to Kenya in the 90s. Toyota Team Europe cars coming to Kenya. And by stage 1, half the team would be decimated. So luck has a big thing to play here. And unfortunately for Hyundai and Ford, this time it just didn't seem to be on their side. Anything that could go wrong was going wrong. And the one who was the person who they thought was the privateer, who would be probably second best to the factory guys, is the one who scored a lot of points. So sometimes luck works, but I think Hyundai and Ford need to go back to the drawing board.
Well, and I'll tell you, the Rally Estonia is coming, and then there is a challenge close to the safari that's going to come, and that is Rally Greece.
Yeah, Greece is another tough one, but I think compared to the conditions we had on the safari this year, it's going to be a walk in the park for those guys. Up to the power stage, Kale was interviewed after he did Kedong 1 on Sunday morning, and he said, the power stage is going to be tough. It's very, very rough. He knows he has the rally. He didn't exactly say he had the rally in the back, but he said, I'm just going to bring the car back. And for him, he wasn't trying to get any power points. He consolidate your lead. I'm sure Yari must have given some team orders. Don't fight. Don't struggle. You guys come in your procession. 1, 2, 3, 4 is ours. Let's pick the points in the bag and move on to Estonia.
Okay. Now, here is the story now from the Kenyan side. WRC3, again, won by a Kenyan. Last year it was Onka Rai. This year, Maxine Wahome.
Yeah, I think we really need to be proud of Maxine. Maxine has done something that hasn't been done for a long time. I think the last time a lady won one of the categories of the WRC is quite some time back. And definitely no African lady has done it. And definitely no Kenyan lady has done it. So very big congrats to Maxine and Waigwa navigating for her. I think in second came...
Second was Jeremy.
Second was Jeremy Wahome.
And third was McRae.
Third was McRae Kimathi. And in the WRC 3 category, McRae is now, I think, lying second. So his points have helped him. The other two don't do the loop, so it's still up for McRae. McRae, if he continues to perform well in the other rallies, he still has a good chance of winning. And
looking at the entire event for the Kenyan drivers, especially those who are in the Rally 3. There's Hamza, there's Maxine, there's Jeremy, and Jeremiah and McRae.
Yeah.
How was their progression stage by stage?
Well, I think they all were on Rally too, all on Super Rally.
On Super Rally, yes.
And like I was explaining it to some the commentators up at the service park, when you have a 3-stage rally, technically it's a 3-stage day done twice. What happens is the road starts to deteriorate. And if the Rally 1 guys were coming back with all those complaints, you can imagine what was going on for the Rally 3 guys. It was tough on top of tough. I think Maxine had some ECU issues on Friday. I think at some point Jeremy's car stopped also with ECU. I think Hamza had an issue, some technical issue. So this was a rally that you had to survive. And the guys who took their trophies on the podium, they really deserved it.
And looking through from a navigator's point of view, what's the best way to manage an event as crazy as this?
This is definitely a navigator's event, very technical. You have to be on top of everything. You have to be on top of your notes. You have to be able to motivate your driver. In fact, there were some clips of Paul Nagel and Elfin, trying to tell him, put your foot down in the fesh dust. Because, when you're in the fesh, you can't slow down. But there are some points where the car is picking up the dust and basically it's on the windscreen, you can't see anything. So, of course, you're tending to put your foot off the accelerator. So the navigators want to tell the driver, no, just continue straight. So this was a tough event for navigators, and kudos to all of them for bringing their drivers back.
Well, one of the stages I know that you've run is Sleeping Warrior, and Elementaita and Soisambu, and one of them had to be reversed. From a navigator's point of view, what happens then? Because your notes, even if you had the notes from last year,
I don't think it was reversed on the day. It's just that it was run in reverse last year.
From last year, yes.
So they had to make new notes. Stage is still the same. I think that was Soisambu, which was the one that had the most water. And of course, you can see all the pictures. Noivel ending up in a tree. Kale, incidentally, having a lot of fun. Definitely, even Oliver Solberg had a lot of fun. In fact, there's a video of him really laughing inside the car. And compared to the older drivers who are really suffering, I think that clip shows there is a transition happening. The younger drivers are coming up and they are relishing these challenges, you know. Driving in Soisambu on Saturday, Soisambu 2 was a nightmare for anybody. And so to see the excitement and the pleasure the young drivers were getting out of it, it just bodes well for rallying in the future.
Well, and talking about Oliver Solberg, you know what he said? That the livery on the car is new. It was all mud. You couldn't see anything, not his door number, not, you know, they indicate the name of the driver and the navigator and the blood group, nothing. Only mud was on the car. But let me just come back to this.
Yeah.
When preparing for a stage that you know, but it is now going to be run in reverse, what happens then when you get down to do recce?
Well, you just do your recce. You do your recce, make sure you do your second run. You do your first run where you write the notes. Second run, you check your notes. You'll amend some things here and there. And then you just treat it like any other stage. Yeah, so the fact that you've seen it in the opposite direction, I don't think really counts. You have to just concentrate on how you're going. And I think they managed pretty well apart from the rain.
Adjusting to the rain, from a driver's perspective, how do you then change?
You know, in the rain, you need very mundane things to work, like your wipers, like your washer. And these are some things that may be overlooked in Kenya because Kenya is a dry rally, it's a dry event. So who's going to check whether the wipers were working, especially for the privateers? In the top teams, I'm sure they have people who need to check these things. But because of the bashing the car has received, because of the tough road you've been on, you know, you just need a little clip to come out somewhere and then the washer doesn't work. Or you need a little clip to come out and then your wiper doesn't work. And then you hit a puddle and your windscreen goes brown and that's the end of it. You know, it's so driving in the rain is very tricky. If everything is working, then all you have to deal with is the slipperiness. But if something's not working, like as mundane as the washer, then you're in big trouble. And this we saw with Noivelle.
Well, and there it happens. You can't see nothing. He hit a tree, and for Noivelle, is somebody who can snap at a moment. Now, the other one that I would like to come to is one incident that the FIA and the WRC people, plus also the local organizers, have spoken about: Gus Greensmith rolling. And this has got to do with safety. You've served in the safety commission of the Kenya Motorsport Federation. Tell us just the correct procedure around that place.
It's a very tricky situation. You know, we now have the hybrid cars. There was a training that had been sent out about a red and green light that is supposed to be on the windscreen.
Actually, I saw that it was circulated a lot.
Exactly.
And I think there was even something on print so that people would understand when to...
Exactly. Now, as the marshal on site, you need to make some quick decisions. Yeah. Number one, as the marshal on site, safety is key. Now, maybe the lady who was there decided that she did not want the fans on the rally route. Whether it was a right decision or wrong decision, you know, nobody can say. Of course, Gus was very unhappy because he would have preferred people came to the car, pushed it back on its wheels, and he would have been able to proceed. So definitely he was unhappy. There's also an aspect of safety in terms of, you know, when they called for assistance, how would that have happened? And maybe she didn't receive that training. Yeah, maybe at that heat of the moment, she decided the safety of the fans, yeah, might be better, because you remember there's a car 3 minutes behind him, yeah, which is coming flat out. And depending on the condition or the place where it was, maybe it would have been a blind corner, maybe it would be dangerous. So maybe she made that decision. Now, I know people might make a big deal out about it, but I'd like to remind them that also in Italy, in Sardinia, there's a marshal who held up a red flag when there was no red flag. So marshals make mistakes. Let's use it as a training and do better next time.
All right, we'll come to lessons learned by drivers and what Kigo knows from that event. He's a 5-time two-wheel drive champion in Kenya, looking back at the Safari Rally. So time for us to wrap up the sports check story, and we're talking about the World Rallies Championship Safari Rally. There's one story that seems to have gotten lost in translation, but I'll not let this one get lost. There was a Kenya National Rally Championship class, and Kigo, we had Carl Tundo there, Isa Amwari, and the drivers got an opportunity to rally. In the Safari, the whole 364 Ks, some stages they didn't do, yeah, because of, the cost of the rally. But what was it for these locals who were at that event?
Well, like I said earlier, we had 3 stages every day that were repeated twice. Of course, the roads were subject to deterioration. And so if the top boys in WRC 1 cars were having a hard time, you can imagine the people in WRC 2 cars, people in WRC 3 cars, and people in cars also, like, Josiah Karaoke, Evo 9. And so it was very tough, very, very tough. The fact that they finished, there are 10 finishers, very tough event. So if you ask any of them whether they enjoyed the safari, I'm not so sure they would answer in the affirmative. It's a very, very tough event, very, very technical, very demanding. The running of the rally is very, very controlled, and some of the stages were missed because of that, because of the time. For example, if there was a delay on the Rally 1 cars, you find that the KNRC cars were then sent to the next stage. They were asked not to do that stage, do the next stage, because they wanted the rally to run to a certain fashion. Of course, there are those who feel that maybe the KNRC didn't get their money's worth, but that's a discussion that can be had. Like I say, we are back after 20 years. There are things that need to be fine-tuned. Should the KNRC run with the WRC? Who knows? That's a discussion that we can have. But I think, after they've dusted themselves off and rested a bit, they'll all be very proud of the fact that they got back to the podium on the safari. Very tough event.
And one of the lessons from the last year's safari was scrutineering, and that's why we got a KNRC division introduced eventually. From the lessons of the Safari 2021, Safari 2022, what have you seen in the rallying scene, especially when it comes to how the cars are prepared, even for you as an active competitor?
Well, of course, scrutineering has become rather tight. They are now very stringent about things to do with safety, which is not a bad thing. My personal views are that some of these things should be, at least for the KNRC, should be, how can I say, can be bent slightly so as to encourage people to come into the sport. Today, if you want to enter a car in KNRC top division, it's as if you're entering a car in a WRC event. You have to comply with everything down to the certificate of worthiness of your roll cage, down to your fireproof socks, down to your fireproof underwear. It's a huge undertaking, and whether it encourages people to come in, I don't know. Of course, the FIA in their wisdom decide that this has to be the things that we wear. But as Kenya, we need to look back and decide, is there a middle ground? Is there a middle ground for the KNRC to ensure that we have many more people entering safely and as well have a successful safari rally as we have just had?
And which ideally would mean that, yes, the roll cage must be the fuel.
Yes, the fuel
tanks.
Yes, fuel tanks have to be of a certain type. It's all to do with safety. My argument sometimes is that, can we compare a WRC Rally 1 car with a two-wheel drive car? Can we compare WRC Rally 1 car with a WRC 3 car? The debate is there, and those who are more technically versed than me can talk about it, but there has to be a middle ground found to encourage the motorsport.
All right.
Yeah.
And Kigo, if you were to be asked, would you want to drive?
Oh, most definitely.
That entire 1,400, including 1,200 plus kilometers, including transport.
Oh, I think so. If I got the opportunity, of course I would drive. I probably wouldn't enjoy it on the day, but it's something that I would look back on and enjoy. So safari, even from before, has been something that people want to achieve. I think we should mention Sean Johnston and Alex Kihurani.
Oh, yes.
Alex Kihurani, his dad is actually from near my home area. In fact, I met him on Friday in Longonot, and we had a good chat. And for him to have his son on this event is like a homecoming. It meant a lot for their family in the States and family back home. And very well done. They came second in WRC 2. They're intending to do the whole championship, so they're heading to Estonia next. So I'd like to wish Sean and Alex a very, very good luck, and we'll be rooting for them from here in Kenya.
Okay, very well. Kiko Kareithi, he's a rally navigator. Thank you very, very much for giving us your time this morning and, breaking it down, especially when it comes to safety and how things should work for the KNRC, and also looking at that great weekend by Toyota. So time for me to leave and leave in the good hands of Nancy Okware, who's coming in with Kurunzi, and after that, the interview program, Tam Rini. My name is Daniel Wahome. On behalf of the team that put this together, and most importantly, you, the viewer, I want to wish you a good day.